Hi, and welcome to the D Life, helping you find the bliss in your busy. I'm Daniela, and today I'm going to be speaking with Tracie Cornell, a mom, a wife, a sister, a corporate trainer, and soon-to-be entrepreneur. So thanks so much for joining us today, and we'll talk to you soon. Hi, and welcome to the D Life. This is Daniela, and we are here with Tracie Cornell. So Tracie, hi.
Hey, how are you?
Good. So why don't you share with everyone a little bit about yourself, both personally and professionally?
Sure. So I live in Buffalo, New York, and I have two daughters, and I just call them both teenagers because the tween acts like a teenager, and it's just easier. So I have two teenage girls, and I'm a dog mom too. And my lovely husband, Kevin, and I. And what else? What else about me? What do I do? Oh, yeah. I know. This is like my elevator.
There's so much. We could probably spend like 20 minutes just on who you are, Tracie.
I know.
For those of you who haven't met Tracie yet, she is an amazing, dynamic personality and woman who I've known for over 20 years. I'm not going to lie. I forgot to share that little bit. Tracie is someone that I've known for a long time. We've gone through many things together, and she always finds a way to inspire me, which is why I was so excited to ask Tracie to be a guest on the D Life, because she is part of where the D Life came from. Can I share that?
Of course.
The story I share in my intro episode, that was Tracie who went to the beach and that listened to her inner D. So Tracie is part of why the D Life even exists. So thank you, Tracie, for being part of this.
Oh, that's so nice. Well, actually, so I remember that day specifically, and I only had a few hours, but it was one of those like early fall, late summer days where I knew it was coming to an end, and I could have easily done a million other things. I'm like, no, you know what? Darn it. I am going to sit on the beach. I am going to read my book. And I immediately thought of Daniela. And I said, you know what? I'm channeling my inner D right now because I am here sitting on the beach and nobody's here on a quiet day, and it's fabulous. So yeah. So thank you, Daniela.
So we all kind of, I think, present this persona, where we work, we have kids, we have families, and we try and hold it out together, and we look like we have it together, but obviously that's not always the case. And so if you're willing to share with us as well, kind of what's it like for you, Tracie? What stresses you out? What's a typical day in the life? What do you got going on?
Oh boy, that is a big question. So wait, I'll start with what stresses me out. To be honest, like I try not to let too much stress me out, but if I have to pinpoint things, it's when I feel like I don't have everything handled. And let me give you an example. So if you can relate, you got the kids running around in a million directions. I have work. I travel for work. I do most of everything. My husband works a lot. So like at any given moment, I'm kind of scanning my life and going, wait, what do we need for this? Who needs that? Who needs that signed? Blah, blah, blah. Who has a game? And if I feel like I have everything kind of under control, then I'm good. But if I feel like I don't have time to do everything, then that's what stresses me out.
Okay, so it's a little bit of a time factor, not only in managing your own life, but managing everybody else's, it sounds like.
Yeah, and that might come from like, I really try really hard to make sure I have everything kind of situated, but I do stress myself out. Like for instance, when I travel for work, which I have that coming up next week, I have this like kind of, I don't know if you want to call it OCD, but I have this like checklist. I'm like, okay, I got to make sure this, make sure we do grocery shopping, make sure this one's got her Lactaid pills for school, because I can't have anybody getting sick. Like it's just the whole like list of stuff. And if I feel like I've covered all that, then I feel like I'm somewhat in control for as much as I can be.
Okay. So in the midst of all of what's happening and whatnot, how are you finding your bliss? How do you find what works for you?
I think that is such a good question. It's ongoing. Like I didn't just wake up, nor does anybody else who sometimes, some days you have great days. Like everything flows. You got the kids to school. You made it to your meeting on time. Other days, not so much. So I find my bliss I've carved out like through what I'll say, maybe trial and error. Where, I definitely, for those of us that are moms, like, of course, you make sure everything's lined up and kids got what they need and all that. But for me, I also feel my best when I have carved out time to do things for myself. And then I get very much less overwhelmed.
Okay. So what are some examples? What do you do for you that helps keep Tracie Tracie?
Oh, well, So this is funny because I do feel like, you asked me this before and I was thinking about it. I feel like it's changed a lot. Like if you're a mom and when you have younger kids, my bliss or the thing that, would help was like, I'd go get a coffee and go walk around at Target, right? But then so over the years, as the kids gotten older, it's changed. So for me now, it's more moving my body. I don't feel good and I experienced that this year because I went for a few months without doing too much and I didn't like it. I didn't feel right. I didn't like it. So moving my body is number one. Relaxing and just, with a book is like probably up there as well. And a lot of things you might read about, like I do like to do yoga and just have some downtime, like just give that to yourself. And the other thing we were talking about this one day, in my morning routine, I stopped turning on the TV in the morning.
That's been a game changer in my house as well. Absolutely.
I did. I really like having the news on and stuff, but boy, when I first wake up, I really like silence. I do.
Not even silence. Sometimes I know we do music in our house, whether it's upbeat to get the kids eating faster and moving and going along, or some jazz to maybe feel like it's a Sunday morning, even though it's Tuesday. But yeah, I think getting caught up in television, whether it was the kids stuff or the news, definitely it changes how you start your day because you're taking on something else's energy rather than creating your own. So that's been good, it sounds like, to get yourself moving, do some activities for you, things like that. So is there one thing that you still feel like everyone thinks you have together, but you're just kind of faking it? Like, what don't you always have together?
Oh boy, that's an interesting question because it sounds weird to say this, but I do hear that, like, a lot of people say to me, like, oh, you're always in a good mood, but I don't know, maybe I do get stressed out and I just don't let it show, or I've implemented some of the things we just talked about, so I do feel like I'm trying to find the balance. But if you see me, and maybe this is just my personality, I guess, if you run into me in the grocery store, I'm not going to lead with, oh my God, I'm so stressed out, I'm so busy. It's just not my personality. So I think people naturally think that everything's fine with me, when sometimes, hey, it's not. It's not. And I'm happy to share that, but I don't lead with that.
Thanks so much for sharing that, Tracie, because I ask that only because I think sometimes, whether it's through social media or even, the images we see on TV or whatnot, we just assume everybody has it together and we're the only one that maybe is struggling with something. I know my patience sometimes is probably my biggest area that I'm faking it, at my job and, in public. Everyone thinks, I have that totally together. And I really struggle, I think sometimes with being able to take a step back and, process things before I respond. And I'm constantly working on that. But I think, though, by showing our vulnerabilities is how we connect and find we all have more in common than we do different. And we're all dealing with a lot of the same struggles and going through so many of the same things.
So speaking of the social media aspect, it made me think of something when you said that. I heard someone describe, not everybody, but a lot of people's social media pages, if you were to pop on, a lot of times it's somebody's highlight reel. And, you could, just assume like, oh, look at that. Everything's wonderful. And, it's not. And so I do share things. Like I shared, and people that know me know like what my struggles are. I guess I just don't lead with that all the time. So people make assumptions that everything's hunky-dory with me. But, if we get to talking, like I love sharing because I think there's power in sharing with other people about things.
Mm-hmm. So if you had to think of 3 things that you're grateful for, I like to use the term, what's your G? So this is the D life and your G are the things you're grateful for. What would be your top 3?
Okay, my top 3 G's. Number 1, my health. Number 2, my family's health. Number 3, put you
on the spot.
No, I mean, there's so many, like, I'm grateful for a lot of things. Like, I'm grateful for all my close friends. Like, number 3 is, like, there's a lot of them. Like,
you need like 20?
Yeah, I know. I know. Like, how great. I'm grateful that I have 20 other things after those top 2 that I'm grateful for. Like, I am. I'm grateful for every day.
So, if you had more time, what would you do with it? You had 28 hours in the day.
Okay, I almost want to say sleep, but I'm getting a lot of sleep these days. So if I had more time after all is said and done, I would definitely, if you saw the books I have on my bookshelf, that I'm like, I gotta read that, because I like reading for work too, because I do leadership training. So to be able to reference a book or something is, really powerful. So reading and then probably writing, because those 2 things go hand in hand. So those are the 2 things I would do.
All right. And lastly, what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail?
Oh, well, a couple of things. But the first thing that comes to my mind is that I would write a book and publish it.
Awesome. And so what's stopping you, obviously, is that fear of failure. If you could see Tracie right now, she's giving me a look because I'm putting her on the spot. Why are you letting your fear of failure stop you from finding ultimately what is your true bliss, your true happiness?
Oh, man. No. Well, it's hard. Like, okay, so first it's the time. So the time thing. I don't have 28 hours in a day. So I haven't made it like as big of a priority, even though it does make me really happy. I think I have to work towards it. I think, as you get older and, I have a big birthday coming up this year. So I do think the amount that we let go of what other people think is really lessening. At least it's lessening in my life. So it's coming. It's coming, Danielle.
Okay, so we are going to see a book from Tracie Cornell at some point. Put that on your calendars, ladies. So hopefully, you found some things that you can connect with, that you can relate to, and maybe take you one step closer to finding the bliss in your busy. I'm Daniela. This was an interview with Tracie Cornell, and thank you so much for joining us. Have a great day. Bye.